I want to thank Jeff for inviting me to speak here. I think this is a really good example of why a parish like this works well, because we have individuals such as Jeff who take a leadership position and encourage folks like ourselves to share our lives and our gifts and our challenges and a little bit of our expertise too. A little biographical on me. I'm a local guy, grew up in Edgebrook, went to St. Mary of the Woods, Loyola Academy, DePaul University, and DePaul Law School. My family's been in the real estate business in Chicago for about 90 years. I began working there when I was age 17. I became an attorney in 1982. I lived in Park Ridge since 1994, and I have 5 children, 3 of whom are attending school here at St. Paul La Crosse. My concentration of work has been in recent years was real estate related. I was very heavy into the development side of things, condo conversions, new construction. I've represented a lot of developers over the years, past 13, 14 years. That's all sort of dried up. So I'm sort of working on my practice now is a little bit more like it was when I first started, which is somewhat more general and varied. I'm working now with issues that are more community-based, community needs, issues relate to real property, relate to people's bankruptcies, relate to people's loan modifications or requests for loan modifications. A lot of people are losing their homes right now, as we all know. So there's foreclosure issues too. I don't know if anybody in this room doesn't know somebody who is affected by this in these times right now. Deal now with issues of estate planning, issues with regard to taxation of income. But I'm just recently working on an adoption case. A gentleman who's a friend of mine is being shipped off to Kuwait. This will be his second tour in the Mideast. They call it the sandbox over there. He is a Navy reservist. He's quite a nice guy. He's adopting his stepdaughter, mainly for the purpose of making sure that if he gets killed, that she will then benefit from his GI benefits, his death benefits, which is quite a generous thing. Another client of mine just adopted a little girl, and she's from Russia. And she flew back and forth, I don't know how many times to Russia, made these tremendous sacrifices, both in time and financial. I think the whole thing cost $30,000 by the time she was done. This is her only child, and she's a single person, too, who's doing this, although she is engaged to be married. But I was talking to her today, and things are going very well for her right now. She just sold her condominium at an optimum price in this terrible market, and just found a great, terrific bargain on a house in Barrington, which was, she's getting the house for like $700,000. It had sold 5 years ago for $1.2 million. I said, well, I think sometimes perfect storms come together for people who, whose hearts are generous, and you've been very generous lately in the adoption of your little baby girl. In my law practice, I've always had sort of a philosophy. I always have a storefront. I'm not a guy who's downtown in the big building. Never really wanted to do that, although I did have opportunities to do that. I've always tried to have a philosophy of using my law practice in the service of the community, to be involved in not just my own work, but in the work of being part of the neighborhood and being part of the community that I'm in. I've been involved in Chamber of Commerce, involved in community groups, American Cancer Society, church groups, which are local to my neighborhood office, which is down near Wrigley Field. I'm right on the corner of Lincoln, Roscoe, and Paulina. Some of you may even know where that is. The L goes right by my office. The tracks are right there. At certain hours it rumbles, and I can't hear myself think. People say, does that L bother you? And I say, what L? I don't even notice it anymore, really. But anyway, my philosophy is to be more than just an attorney, but to try and get to know people and assist in things that go beyond the scope of my work. Somehow I feel it's all related, having that point of view. But in terms of being just a lawyer and trying to be an effective lawyer, there's three things that I find myself doing every day. And one is being a counselor to people. Sometimes you see attorney and counselor at law. People come to you with problems quite often when you're an attorney and they share things with you quite often that you don't really share with the average person. You might only share that with a priest or a doctor, the types of things that are brought into conversation with an attorney. I find my job then to be someone who can counsel you in law and also in common sense sometimes. Common sense can't go out the window just because you have a field of expertise. You know, they have to go hand in hand. Number two is I find myself being a bridge between the state, the government, and the person themselves. There's a gap in our system between state and individual. Our legal system is quite complex, as many of you know. I think the Harvard Law Library has over 2 million volumes, just one library alone. Imagine that. It's a complex system. If any of you have been involved in any legal wranglings or legal systems, surely you can attest to that. So to be that bridge between the state and the individual. And thirdly, to be an advocate of justice, simple advocate of justice. You don't have to be a lawyer to be an advocate of justice. You can be a parent is an advocate of justice every day with their own children. A teacher is an advocate of justice every day with their students. And as a lawyer, I'm being asked to be an advocate of justice within the boundaries of the law, within the boundaries of the legal system, which, quite frankly, is hard work. When you're listening to people trying to sort through their problems, define, refine, get to the nub of things, and then take legal action in court as a litigator. Litigation is just not easy. You say, if you ever get called into a deposition or you're party to a lawsuit, you say, oh, gosh, this is terrible. It's not much easier for a lawyer, no matter how long you do it. I've been doing it for 27 years, and it's still a grind. It's hard work. But justice demands hard work, I think. I don't think you really get justice without hard work. Parents, you know that. It's tough work to discipline kids. So those are the three areas which I find myself, three things I find myself doing as an attorney on a daily basis. My philosophy of law, again, is for assisting communities, my community. I find this touching my faith, where this faith meets my work, to take it one further level, to find in my work somehow a way to assist the church, my church, the Catholic Church, in the reestablishing of all things in Christ. Is what we're asked to do. Not just be a technical functionary in our work, in our daily lives. Not just to be a nice guy, but it's good to be a nice guy. But to take a further step in my mind, which is to have a point of view of a representative of the church. This, is what was really called for at Vatican II. The document on the laity, which we all are, except for Father Charles back there. We're called to be the leaven in the world, representatives of the church. We're called to take it to the street. Take what? Take our faith to the street. Take what we learn in church, what we learn in our prayer life, to the street. And I have to do this. That's a challenge. It's a challenge when someone's swearing at me on the other end of the phone, or I'm rushed hurried, I'm worried. I've got a judge not liking the way I look in court or whatever. You know, it's not easy. But so I'm challenged to make good decisions every day. Sometimes the right answer is more obvious than other times in some situations. Nuanced situations make for tougher decisions. You know, there's an adage in law that odd cases make bad law. You know, and it's true every day with my work. That being said, I recognize that I'm not a perfect person. I sin. I'm limited by my own knowledge, my lack of knowledge, my limitations of strength. We have finite capacities, and I know that I need my divine assistance to push myself, to work hard, to hang in there with other people. And I go to the Lord for help during the day. I ask for help. Christ asked us to ask for help if we need it. And so I do. And a few things that help me are, I try to make it to daily Mass if I can. Try to make it as regular as possible, 6:25 here. And when things are really uncertain and at my wit's end, or just at a point where I feel that I'm in need, I go to my heavenly lawyers. I got my own lawyers, and they're, first I have is St. Michael the Archangel. I don't know if any of you know the prayer to St. Michael the Archangel. It's a beautiful prayer. It goes like this: St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we do humbly pray, and do thou, the heavenly host, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the evil spirits that scour this world, seeking the ruin of souls. It's a beautiful prayer given to us by Pius XIII, or no, Pius IX, in about 150 years ago, in anticipation of the evils that were coming into the world at the end of the Industrial Revolution, the rise of socialism in the world. Another of my favorite lawyers is St. Faustina. She's the one who came and gave us the Divine Mercy, the image of the Divine Mercy, at the bottom of which is a beautiful portrait, where there's one in the Adoration Chapel. It says, "Jesus, I trust in you." It was given to her. She's a Polish nun who died at a young age. It was a diary of St. Faustina, which she actually wrote a diary of interlocutory locution she had from our Lord. But the main script on the bottom is, "Jesus, I trust in you." To have true trust in the Lord. Take the burdens off yourself of worry, and allow the Lord to be one who you can rely on. And number three, my third lawyer is Padre Pio. I don't know if you've heard of him. He was the great Italian saint, the stigmata, right? He bore the wounds of Christ on his hands, suffered greatly, and had actual battles with the devil in his own little room, his little cell. But he had his little saying. He said, "Pray, trust, and don't worry." I think a lot of the phobias and anxieties and things we have are overly worried about everything. I myself included, I'm probably the worst culprit. Anyway, I try to incorporate these little spiritual bromides and these spiritual intercessors into my daily life because I need it, and I gain and I benefit from it, and I try and share it with other people as I'm sharing it with you. So anyway, that's it. Yeah, that's all I have for now. If there's any questions, please fire away.
Jerry, tell us a little bit about your combative nature.
My combative nature? Well, one of my best friend is in the back of the room, and his name's Charlie Poindexter. And he can tell you that I'm a little bit combative.
No, not at all.
But I think we're all born with natures, and I tend to get. I found law to be something that was a natural for me because I have a fairly competitive nature. I'd say it's more competitive. It's combative too. And I think part of the reason that I get worked up sometimes is just it's like I can get up in a ladder, just over things. But it helps in my work. It does help, to try and assert position of my clients. You just got to rein it in, though. You got to keep it reined in.
How do you compare yourself to your other attorneys in court? How do you see yourself as being possibly different from them?
Well, everybody has their own personality. I think that the good attorneys are people who know the law. The great attorneys are the ones who know the judges. But seriously, it's really hard to say. I think to me, I think being in a certain area of law a long time makes you good in court. I don't necessarily know that a certain personality type is really better than others. I wouldn't agree. It's really just knowing what you're doing and being comfortable and relaxed in your courtroom. Yes.
One more question. I had an attorney tell me one time, after I'd spent thousands and thousands of dollars with him, that if you're looking for justice, you won't find it in the law. The law will not provide you with justice. You have a comment about that?
Yeah, one of the first things I heard from one of my law professors when I was in school was, just remember the law is an ass, which was a quote from a famous jurist. I don't remember who it was exactly. It might have been Holmes. But, the nature of justice in the law is not a true justice. It's not a divine justice. It may mirror the elements of what would make divine justice. We don't know exactly what pure justice is because we've never really seen it on earth, I don't think. Okay. But we do see many instances in Scripture where there are references to lawyers, there are references to trials, there are references to witnesses. There's a reference in the Ten Commandments that we shall not bear false witness against our neighbor. So the elements of what we bring to trial are very universal, old, but how are they applied on a daily basis? How are they treated by a judge? I say this to people. I say, I can have the same set of facts today in front of the same judge 2 days in a row and get different results. Okay. So a good lawyer never tells his client, I'm guaranteeing you we're going to win, or justice will prevail. All I can really say is we're going to attempt to have justice prevail. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Yes?
Have you ever considered or have you ever rejected a client for ethical or moral?
Yes, I have. I guess the answer, the quick answer is yes. Yes.
I don't know if you do criminal defense, but if you did, could you ever defend someone that you know is guilty, maybe on a technicality, something?
I do a little bit of criminal work. I'm starting to do that again. Like I say, I'm back to doing the things I did when I was starting out 10 years ago, or 27 years ago. There are many instances where I know in a non-capital manner, or let's say a matter that's not a serious felony, that my client's guilty, or I may think they're guilty. But I feel that what they're entitled to, even if they did do the crime, is a good defense. the best defense they can possibly have and get the best deal they can possibly get from them in court. And if that means getting them off, well, great. You know, that's how I feel about it. But in cases of, if you're talking about a capital crime like a murder, if I knew that somebody had actually murdered somebody and I was there to really try and get them off, I don't know that I could do that. I don't know that I could do that. I've never really been asked to try a murder case. I have done felonies, but nothing that serious.